Yeah, speaking of kids that can play, you got a bunch of them. Branch, Roberts, Garcia. I mean, who's one or two kids right now that maybe isn't getting the looks that maybe they should? That you think this kid's a D1 type kid given the right opportunity.
Well, I think honestly our best football player is Ross Connors. I would start there. I think Ross Connors is, he's got an offer from Air Force and an offer from Harvard. He was All-State last year, and you look at him, I think he's an incredible football player. I think the next two guys, and there's three guys. Well, there's a few guys. The second one is Ryan Bowman. His brother obviously is a scholarship kid at
Right.
Washington, but Ryan's quite honestly the best pass rusher I've ever seen. I mean, I've never seen a kid get after the quarterback like him. He's probably 6'1", about 235, 240. He's only a junior, and I think he is special. And then Omar Dials, who started last year, I think he was second team All-State. He's a 270-pound nose guard, about 6 feet tall. I think he is maybe one of the best defensive players on the West Coast that no one's talking about, to be honest with you. And then, I mean, those guys we're kind of head-scratching on because one's an inch too tall. I mean, some guys an inch too slow, this and that. Tyson Penn, we have a receiver who's 6'5", he's a track kid who's newly from football. He's going to be a special kid. He's a junior as well. And then Christian Pankey, a senior, a kid that moved here from New York. His mom's a Microsoft transfer. He played at a small school out in New York, so he didn't really get recruited. And he struggled a little bit early here, but he's a heck of a football player. I mean, he's got great hip snap. I don't know, again, similar to Miles in some ways, I don't know where he's going to play, but I know he can play. And I think those are probably the guys that jump off the charts for me a little bit. Ursel Terrell, Chris, we have a bunch of guys that are pretty good football players, but probably starts with Ross. But Bowman and Dials are the two that I'd be like, man, I don't get it. And and again, it kind of reminds me of DeCastro or even Miles at some point. That these guys are going to come out and you're going to see these guys doing huge things. Luke Lane is an outside backer who's had a great run. He's only a junior, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, it's college recruiting at its best,
Yeah.
I don't know. So.
Well, that's a lot of names, Coach, with the guys that already have offers and stuff. Do you feel sorry for some of the other teams? I mean, I'd say that tongue in cheek, but
You play, but I think a lot of these guys get offered and they go to camps and they look really good in shorts and they come out
yeah,
and they run around and, oh man, this guy's got the measurables and he could be this and he could be that, and then they get out and they miss guys that are
right,
sometimes true football players in some ways. So
right.
I always find it obviously you can tell I'm passionate about
Yeah.
the recruiting thing with these kids, and I mean, I know I don't ever oversell a kid or undersell a kid. I'm just really honest, and it always strikes me as always interesting when someone tells me he's an inch too short, or geez, I wish his arm length was longer. Well, I don't get that. But again, I'm not in that game, but I would recruit football players, and those guys are. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. You've had a ton of success. We know that goes without saying. When was the last time you went into halftime of a game where you thought that the game was in doubt? I mean, it's been 66 games. That's a long time, Coach.
Probably last week. I mean, last week it was 10-zip. We scored right before the half. It was 3-zip. We knew Peninsula was very good on defense, and we had a feeling this was going to be a war, and it was. I mean, Sarah, obviously, it was 21-21 with MI. So we've had a lot of games like that, I mean, I'm trying to think. Last year, I'm trying to, something pops off the top of my head. I don't know. I mean, we've had a few that are there. That's definitely this year. I mean, for sure. So,
who are some coaches around the state that you really you admire, or you maybe pattern some of your stuff after, or even at the college ranks? I mean, who are some of your influences as a coach?
I don't really have anybody I football-wise look at and go. I mean, obviously, I'm a big fan of De La Salle.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of how they play. I'm a fan of the style they play. We play different offenses, but when Bob is there, they run split back veers, and you don't see a lot of split back veers. You don't see a ton of wing T. So I think we're similar in that. I think the way they play and the way they come off the ball and the style of which they play is very. I mean, we get compared to them up here time and time again. We're obviously different programs and they're private. We're not all those things go into it, but I think the style of play is very similar. I mean, I just think a lot of the things are kind of like eerie similar in that, and I would agree to that. I don't know if I would have agreed with that years ago, but after seeing enough stuff, I do agree with that. But coaches I admire, I'm a big fan of Matt Taylor at Skyline. I think he's done an unbelievable job out there. I love Steve Valek at Liberty. He's a really solid guy who's done a great job, and they're tough for us every year. Tom Boehner at Bothell is another really good coach who does really good stuff with his kids, and there's a lot of them around there. Bob Bridgette Kennedy and Charlie Canoon at Mount Si. There's just some really good guys around here that have been tough games for us over the years, and I really have great respect for their program and what they do with their kids and the adjustments they make. I mean, we always pride ourselves in being able to be pretty good at halftime. In a 10-minute period, we can get a couple things done at least, and those guys can too.
Yeah. Talk about just a little bit about playing out of state. Obviously, you're looking for the best competition that you can get. How do you decide kind of who you play or what schools out of state that you might have interest in playing?
I think it used to be pretty easy, man. Before it became such a big deal. I mean, oh, you guys want to play? Okay, we'll play. Here we go. I mean, now it's become, well, I have to check with my TV rights to this game,
right.
and this and that, and are we using Nike or are we using Adidas,
right.
or I mean, there's some different things too.
Yeah.
Like, okay, do you want to play? Do you not want to play?
Yeah.
I don't really put a ton of thought into it. I do like playing a game here and there. I think when people say, oh man, I wouldn't take on those guys. It's like, playing football, and we play Texas and obviously California and all over the place, and they're high school kids,
right?
For the most part, they're high school kids. The different part now, though, the hardest part for us and up here really is the rule change. We get 20 days in the summer. That's 10 days in pads and 10 days without, and we can't do anything year-round without that. There's no football stuff. So when we played Sarah this year, this was the first game we played where they can theoretically practice, maybe not in pads, but can do whatever they want all year round, and that is a huge advantage. So we kind of scratched our head, do we want to do this anymore? Because with a 20-day limit, when we played Texas, when we played Trinity a few years ago, and Katy, I mean, Texas football is a year-round sport.
Yeah.
Washington football is a pastime, so
right.
It is a different thing. But again, then you look at it and you start going, okay, well, it's a one-game scenario. How can we make the game a game in 48 minutes, and what can we do? And that part of it makes it fun. So I think you look at whatever the options are, and if it works, you do it. If it doesn't, but I don't ever look at the opponent and go, oh, we don't want to play them, or I mean, I think it is what it is. I mean,
right.
I mean, they're just high school kids. Are they more talented than the other ones? Yeah. I mean, we had this. We were looking at doing this thing, or I think the thing in Florida this year,
yep.
And it's just too much, man. I don't know. It just seems like it's overkill right now. Maybe in a year we'll change our mind, but playing in some mythical national title thing, I don't know how you can ever pick one in high school. I really don't.
Yeah.
I don't think that's humanly possible, but we've been crowned a national champion before, so
sure.
I don't know how that happened. But I mean, it just you're kind of like, okay, great. I don't know.
Right.
There's another long-winded answer that probably didn't make any sense for you.
No, it did. It definitely did. Who's the one guy this year, or it might be a couple guys, the heart and soul of Bellevue this year? If maybe an offensive guy and a defensive guy. If you had said this is the heart and soul of Bellevue football this year.
I would say Ross Connors and then Alec Callender. I would say those guys, and I would throw Ryan Gilbert and Jack Michael in as well. Mustafa as well. Those guys are senior leaders, and they are great leaders. The one thing I love how I love that class is maybe not the most talented group we've ever had by far, but man, they get it. They don't look like much coming off the bus, but they'll play 48 minutes hard, and they are an exceptional group of kids.
Coach, well, lots to be thankful for. You're back in the semifinals again, facing a tough Marysville opponent. Good luck in that game. We look forward to seeing you guys over there. And man, 7 is is a potential number. I know you go year to year, but they have to make up new names just to 2-peat and 3-peat makes sense. But 6-peat and 7-peat, that for some reason that just it's hard to compute. But you're on the cusp of that. When all is said and done, what do you want your legacy to be? I mean, what do you want people to say about the Bellevue program the time that Coach Goncharoff was at the helm?
I think first and foremost that we had good kids. You know, we've never run the score up on people. We play well. You don't see anything cheap out of our kids. You see us play, you know, disciplined, and the bottom line, you see us play hard and you see us play fair. And I think those are the best compliments I can ever get as a coach, man, is we'll play teams and they'll look at us and go, oh my gosh, these guys got a few guys, but man, how hard we play. And how we practice and how they do that. That's probably the one thing as a coach I take the most pride in is you know, the level and how hard our kids play. So it's good.
All right. Well, it's a testament to you as an individual. We love what you do with the kids there and your influence, and I think that'll probably go on till till the day you die, Coach. I can't see it being any other way for you. So appreciate what you've done for football here in the state of Washington, for the kids there at Bellevue and the community. And like I said, good luck, all the best in Friday's game, and hope you enjoy your Thanksgiving as well.
All right. Thank you very much. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Coach. So Coach Goncharoff there, the Bellevue Wolverines looking to 7-peat, but before that, taking on Marysville-Pilchuck Friday night in the Tacoma Dome. What a amazing run that they've had and continue to have. 66 wins. Looking for number 67, the second longest winning streak in high school football. This is Zen and Thornton, Washington Sports Network, powered by Preps 365. Have a good night.